Hi, this is Kimberly Reuter, business advisor and supply chain expert, and welcome back, my Moodies, to my podcast, The Morning Moods. And we are back with Thorsten from Europe, and we are entering our first episode of, we're not sure what we're going to call it yet, a hop across the pond. We'll come up with some cute little name like we have with everything else, about what's going on in Europe from a logistics and freight forwarding and supply chain perspective. And Torsten is here to walk us through it because he's in it every single day. Welcome back, Torsten.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Right.
Yeah. We had a great time recording the first Architect series was with you. If you guys haven't listened to it, please go back. We talk about how Torsten really built all of Amazon logistics from the ground up way back in the 2000s, and it's a great story over 4 episodes, so please go back and listen to that. But today, we're gonna talk about what's going on in Europe, and Torsten, that sounds like there's a lot of fraud and theft happening right now.
Yeah, there's too much going on in Europe
Yeah,
at the moment, at least kind of when we get into the detail of this, right? So it's
yeah.
cargo theft, right?
Okay,
And
so what's
um,
happening?
and
Why all of a sudden is it a big
I
thing?
know it's not just a European thing, if you like, right? But it's been exploding over the last couple of years, right? So it's like at the moment, like so, I pulled some numbers for earlier this year, and on average, it's like 500,000 worth of euros worth of cargo stolen from road transport uh, every day. Yeah,
Hold on a second. €500,000, so roughly, I don't know, I have exchange rate, so about 800,000 US.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, and
about
it's every day, right?
every day.
Yeah.
And this is on trucks. This is not ocean freight. I mean,
No, 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 no.
obviously, they got somewhere, but this is actually coming off of a truck.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So why the sudden explosion? Any ideas?
Uh, yeah, a couple, to be honest, right? So one, as I think, like with many other, if like illegal activities or crime and so on, we've seen a surge over recent years, and I'm
Mhm.
ask me why exactly that is, but it seems the criminals are getting ever more, if you like, um, brave, if you
Savvy.
want to call it that, right? And I think the other aspect of this is also that with modern technology and things like, hey, supply chain visibility, right? We as the logistics or supply chain practitioners, we are not the only ones getting the visibility.
Oh, yeah, security is a big thing
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that it's something that actually is I find mind-boggling is actually so many, at least here in Europe, many freight forwarding companies, trucking companies, et cetera, will still email manifest or waybills or loading list, right? And whenever you email something, right? I mean, I say to some of my clients, you know what? Why don't you just put it on LinkedIn as a post? Your
Yeah.
manifest, right? Because once you email it, it's out of your control. You don't know where it's
Yeah.
going. You don't know who's intercepting it, and so on, right? And then imagine
Right.
you email a manifest and like, a truck will arrive with you tomorrow. We'll stay overnight at some truck stop in France.
Yes.
Excellent, right?
Yes. And so just for the moodies out there who are not really into supply chain, you're just listening along, maybe try to learn or you're new to this. So a manifest, a trucking manifest, any sort of manifest actually, is a pretty detailed description of what is in the container, on the ship, on the truck, whatever it is. And depending, and when I say detailed, I mean how many, what exactly it is, the SKU numbers, and in many cases, the value of the product. Yeah. So when you think about that, like, and you need all that for insurance purposes, and the trucker needs to know what they're pulling and all this kind of stuff, like, it all makes sense. But that information in bad hands is exactly what Torsten's talking about. I've got, a $2 million shipment of high end goods, whatever those might be. Um, and it's going to be at a truck stop in France. at
Yeah,
2 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, well,
It's like, come on over.
that's what I'm saying to people. I may as well post on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
tell you
I've
that.
never really thought about it that way. Cause old school okay, I'm gonna just date myself a little bit. When I started in the industry, my delivery orders had to have blue ink. I'm not kidding you. Like, my trucker had to have an original piece of paper that actually had to be signed in blue ink, so you couldn't copy that stuff. So, I mean, that was probably the best security we've had since then.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Right. So,
yeah,
yeah, and I think that's kind of people being able to intercept this. Uh,
yeah.
it
Fake
makes
it,
it
fraud
really
it.
easy.
Yeah,
Makes it really,
yeah,
yeah. And as a result of that, what we've seen is like this, almost like well, not entirely a new industry riding on this,
yeah.
a legal industry. Hasten to add, right? Right, but um, the industry of, if you like, keeping cargo secure, that has grown dramatically as well, right? So
Yes.
there's for example, a number of apps for drivers where they can see where is secure parking available,
Oh,
right?
wow,
Because
yeah.
you may, as a truck driver, you may know where the secure parking is, right? By the time you arrive, it might be full. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those
Yep.
apps tell you live, like, so okay, there's so many
Where's
spots
secure
left,
parking?
and so on, right? And platforms doing that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
booking services and tracking and security
yeah,
under CCTV cameras, uh,
yeah, they're
and so
safe.
on, right? Uh,
So, Torsten, let's break it down a little bit here because when we talk about fraud and freight security, there's multiple pillars of it, right? So we talked a little bit about digital security, which is what we're talking about, like keeping your data safe, not letting everybody know you got your $2 million shipment headed out on Tuesday. So there's digital security. We haven't gotten much into actual cargo security a little bit. I know we're going to get into that a little bit, but we're also there is the driver security, right? The actual safety of the driver, and I wanna get in so I wanna talk about that, and then I wanna come back to the actual security of the cargo because that's changed, and we're not talking about what I think people think we're talking about. We're not talking about a couple boxes off the back of a truck. So we're gonna come back to that. But
mm.
talk about driver security because you're taking us right there. We're talking about a safe place to stop, yeah, talk to us more about that because I don't think we focus on that enough.
No, kind of. I agree. Definitely, yeah, we definitely haven't talked about that enough, and I think it's not very well understood how important that actually is.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine you are out there as alone, right? At what the small hours in the morning,
Yeah,
right?
the weeks.
Somewhere. And there might be other people around, but very often truck parking places, the non-secured ones, there's no
Yeah,
one around.
yeah.
Oh. And it is an uncomfortable feeling. Yeah.
It is.
I mean, I think you mentioned at one point, like when I was studying, actually, I earned my studies through
Yeah,
driving trucks.
you drove a truck, so
Yeah.
yeah,
But that
and
was in the late 80s, early 90s, right?
yeah,
When cargo theft was not really, it wasn't a big thing, right?
no, not to this scale,
Yeah,
but
exactly, right?
I wanna
I
take a
felt,
minute and do a shout out to the trucker. So, my partner Billy, he is a retired long haul
yeah,
trucker, he always comments about how there is less and less space and places safe places for truckers to go, especially long hauls. You know, the truck stops, the places where they can rest, where they're safe, where they're not going to be approached by a bunch of people, are dwindling. And respect for truckers has really kind of gone down. And it's a hard job. So shout out to every trucker out there who is moving freight because all of us sitting on our cushy asses in our offices do not realize that if they weren't moving it, we wouldn't have it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
The
right.
next time you go to cut off a trucker because you don't want to get behind him in traffic, remember he's got your package. Yeah,
absolutely, right.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
and to be honest, you know what? Um, when I did that job, I did stay, or I was sent to some pretty dodgy areas sometimes. Like,
yeah.
for example, I did tons of trips to Belfast, right? Which where you
At the
like
time,
in the late 80s, you had the IRA and so on.
Bono and
That's
all that,
that's
like
my definition of a not secure place to park, right? Joking aside, right?
yeah,
Um, to be honest with you, when I see how the trucks are being packed up, like on what places at nighttime these days, I would not do this job now. I
yeah,
just wouldn't, right?
it's sketch.
For the little that you get paid to
Yeah,
potentially protect your $500,000 worth of road and so on. No, thank you. Right.
yeah,
So you're
agreed.
absolutely right. Big shout out. Right. Big shout out.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back to what's actually happening in cargo theft because I got a little reference point. When people talk about cargo theft, I think in our minds we think about a couple, boxes falling off the back of a truck, maybe not making it from the warehouse to the trailer. Back in the day, there used to be a big thing with cigarettes. I'm dating myself now. You probably remember the cigarette security. We used to have to do like they
Yeah.
used to actually weld bars across the back of the container and
Mm.
down the bottom because people were just cutting through the bottom of containers and taking cigarettes out. So back then, those were the issues. But today, entire
Wow.
containers just disappear.
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
And
Gone.
and you will see, and at least I frequently, just because of the feeds I'm getting, as for example on LinkedIn and so on. I see posts of truckers or hauliers, right? So like, hey, please notify me if you see my trailer was stolen from the yard or whatever.
Right?
Last Sunday, here's a picture and here's a registration number.
Here's the numbers. Here's the seal. Yeah, here's everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the whole thing.
It's a whole thing. So it's not just about people backing it up and taking a few off the back. We think about Sopranos and, if a couple containers fall out the back, a couple boxes fall out the container. This is actually and it can be multiple loads as well. I think that's the other thing is that this just isn't a single container mark. We have situations where multiple loads are getting marked. And I've even heard stories where the entire tractor and trailer disappears.
Yeah, yeah,
They take the whole thing.
right. And
Yeah.
in the event that the entire truck disappears, my well, if you like, recommendation to people sometimes is, but don't look for the truck, look for the spare parts, right? Because they will be dismantled and will be shipped to Africa, right?
Oh.
I don't mean to, sorry, I don't
No,
want to
it's
be
true, but it is
basic
true.
yeah, in any
Yeah.
way, right? It will be,
Don't go looking for the tractor.
the
He's
spare
gone.
parts will be shipped somewhere, where someone can use it, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right.
So, Torsten, do you have any let's talk about what can people start doing to so we got cybersecurity, we got security for our truckers, and we actually have security of the cargo.
Yeah.
So, what can people start doing to address some of this stuff?
So I think cybersecurity, yeah, technically, yes, we have it,
Obvious.
right? But not
Yeah.
by far, not enough people are using it. Right?
Yeah.
And I would deplore anyone, please do not ever send commercial invoices, manifests, and the like by email. Get something smarter. It's not expensive, right? You don't
Yeah.
spend $1 million to implement whatever, right?
Yes.
So it's not that difficult, right? And that's really where it starts, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is actually, at least here in Europe, there is a lot of pressure from uh, freight forwarding interest groups and logistics companies on the governments to expand and build more secure parking space
Okay.
for trucks.
Yep.
Because at least here, it's more the highways, the motorways are run by the governments
Yes.
or national, and therefore the services that you have along them, the parking spaces and so on, is run okay by the government or as
They can step it
well.
up.
So there's a lot of pressure, right? And I think in the end, that's really also that's the only thing that can help protect people, right? You need
It
that
really is.
secure gated fence, cameras,
Safe
surveillance,
space.
and so on, right?
Yeah.
That's just a must, right?
Yeah, with a scan in and a scan out, you know exactly what's happened. And again, that it's really in that situation, it does make the cargo safe, but it really gives the driver a safe space. That's the most important part
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, and you're right. That exactly is it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, um, no company, no logistics or transport company should ever expect from the driver to actually actively protect the asset, the truck, and the load, right? Because they're
Yeah.
drivers, right? They're not bodyguards, right?
Yeah, they're not. They're not armored car vehicle drivers, and it can be a very uncomfortable situation, especially if you're dealing with how high value cargo, and you are kinda driving around with a mark on your back. So they do need a safe space to stay. What about, cargo tracking, things like that? You've seen a lot of success with companies implementing GPS tracking, trying to keep an eye on what's going on. Any thoughts on that?
Uh, Everything helps, right?
Yeah.
I think in the end, the tracking, well, okay, we'll tell you that your truck's been driven by someone else, right? Um, it's not, so for me, that's a bit late, right?
I mean, a really good point. Like, it's going in the right direction. Thank you for letting me know
yeah,
now.
absolutely. Say, hey, my truck's been stolen, but I know where it is, right? So, you
It's
know,
a really good point. It's a little bit the horse is out of the barn now.
yeah,
So,
yeah, that's a
you
bit late. It's a bit late,
Thorsten, this
right?
is why I love you and I love doing podcasts with you is that you just because of all of your experience and you're been there, done that, you could just boil it right down to that fact that if you're relying on tracking, like it's already happened.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, right, and uh, yeah, I mean, actually, one of my current clients, they offer tracking as well, right? And
Yeah.
what we're working on is actually to get some like an automatic alert as soon as the vehicle
Yeah.
diverts
Yes.
from a pre-planned or
Yeah.
right, but that has to
Yeah.
happen really fast, right? Because
Yes.
you can't say like, oh, we'll see it half an hour later or whatever. Half an hour later
Right.
will be way
Yeah.
too late. It needs to happen within minutes, right?
Yeah, and you have to have something like the action to it, right? So you and I in all of our training we've come up with like there's the alert, which is great, but what the hell are you going to do when it happens? So to your point, like you have to be on it. And the point I know we're laughing about it. It's cargo theft is not funny. It's just funny that we kind of start a lot of companies start at the end, which is we're going to tell you that your cargo is not headed in the right direction. But there's probably about 10 steps that you can take before that
Yeah.
to make
Yeah.
sure that that is your last call, right? That's my last leg in my security for my trucking. I made sure I'm not telling everybody what I'm doing. I'm making sure that I have secure area for my cargo and my drivers. And now, if that doesn't work, I've got my backup plan. It is not your step one, I think, is what we want
Yeah,
everybody to
no,
walk away with.
exactly, right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's I don't mean to say it's useless, has its place, right, but it's definitely not just step one, right?
Yeah, you need to have all 3 of these things. If you wanna have a secure trucking supply chain, you need to have good digital security, you have to have good security and safety for your drivers and cargo, and you do have to have tracking because we wanna know if something's gone wrong or it got delayed, and there's a lot of values for tracking. Like, I don't wanna crap all over tracking, but it can't be your own security, your
No,
only piece of
no,
security. Yeah,
yeah,
for the piece. Yeah. So, again, shout out to all the truckers out there who are making it happen. You guys do not get enough credit. You don't get paid enough money. I know it. I don't know what to do about that, but and you're the ones that make it happen. If you weren't moving the cargo, it wouldn't be on the store shelves.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
right,
But yeah, unsung heroes. All right, well, Torsten, we're going to have you back again next month, and we are going to talk about another EU logistics topic. Sometimes as this topic is worldwide, this is not specific just to Europe. We're seeing this everywhere.
yeah.
The US has had an uptick in this as well in trucking fraud and in just straight up theft. And it's scary. Like, it's not the theft of the days when we started in the industry.
Exactly. Right. Okay.
Totally. All
I'm
right. Well,
already
thank you
looking.
very much,
I'm looking
Thorsten.
forward to next month already.
All right. Thank you very much.
Right.
All right.
Okay. Bye.